The forbidden secret of the Templars, the true story of Jesus that was never revealed. At the dawn of the 12th century, a group of fearless knights emerged in the Holy Land with a mission shrouded in mystery. But what if I told you their true purpose wasn't what history books claim? These warriors, known as the Poor Knights of Christ and the Temple of Solomon, the Templars, weren't merely protecting pilgrims. They were guardians of something far more valuable than gold or relics. They were protecting a truth so dangerous it could tear apart the very fabric of Christianity itself. When Hugh de Payens and his small band of knights offered their services to King Baldwin II of Jerusalem in 1119, they received something extraordinary in return: housing directly above the ruins of Solomon's temple. But ask yourself this: why would warrior monks who supposedly lived under vows of poverty be given such a symbolic and powerful location? The answer lies hidden beneath centuries of carefully constructed myths. For 9 long years, these knights remained virtually invisible to history. Official records claim they protected pilgrims, yet eyewitnesses reported something else entirely: intense excavations beneath the Temple Mount. Think about this. If their only mission was guarding travelers on dangerous roads, why would they spend years digging beneath one of the most sacred sites in the world? What were they really searching for? Some historians believe they discovered ancient scrolls, forbidden gospels, and Gnostic texts that presented a radically different vision of Jesus Christ and his teachings. Documents the church had desperately tried to destroy centuries earlier. But here's where the story takes a shocking turn. After those 9 mysterious years of excavation, the Templars suddenly reappeared, transformed from a small band of pious knights into an organization of unprecedented wealth and influence. Within decades, they controlled vast properties across Europe, developed the world's first banking system, and answered to no one but the Pope himself. What could explain such a dramatic rise to power? What did they find beneath those ancient stones that changed everything? To understand what the Templars might have discovered, we need to journey back to the earliest days of Christianity, a time very different from what most modern believers imagine. During the first centuries after Christ's death, dozens of Gospels circulated among Christian communities. But here's what most people don't know. Only a small fraction were selected for the official Bible. The selection process wasn't divine inspiration, but human decision. Specifically, the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, when Emperor Constantine sought to unify Christianity under a single doctrine. The Gospels that supported church authority were preserved. Those that didn't were condemned to oblivion. The Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, the Gospel of Philip. These rejected texts paint Jesus not as a divine being separate from humanity, but as a teacher of inner enlightenment, someone who taught that divinity exists within each person. In the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus says, "The kingdom of God is inside you and all around you, not in buildings of wood and stone." This contradicts the church's position as the necessary intermediary between humans and God. Even more shocking, some of these texts hint at a special relationship between Jesus and Mary Magdalene, suggesting she possessed a superior spiritual understanding, perhaps even being his chosen successor. The Gospel of Mary states, "Peter said to Mary, 'Sister, we know that the Savior loved you more than the rest of women. Tell us the words of the Savior which you remember.'" This implies knowledge passed exclusively to her, knowledge that never made it into the official Bible. But the most controversial revelation? The Gospel of Philip implies Jesus and Mary Magdalene shared a connection deeper than history admits. And the companion of the Savior is Mary Magdalene. Christ loved her more than all the disciples and used to kiss her often on her mouth. This raises the possibility of a secret lineage that continued after his crucifixion, a bloodline that would have completely undermined the Church's authority and doctrine. If the Templars discovered concrete evidence of this lineage beneath the Temple Mount, it would explain everything about their meteoric rise to power and their brutal destruction. The transformation of the Templars from humble protectors to one of the most powerful organizations in medieval Europe happened with astonishing speed. Within just a few decades, they established a network spanning 3 continents. They invented financial instruments we still use today, becoming the world's first multinational banking corporation. Kings and nobles deposited their wealth with them. Their distinctive white mantles with red crosses became symbols of unrivaled influence. But there was something different about the Templars compared to other military orders of the time. Their secret rituals, their mysterious symbols, their ambiguous relationship with power, all suggest they possessed knowledge that made them both influential and dangerous. Former members who left the order spoke of strange initiation ceremonies conducted in absolute secrecy. They described rituals where new knights were taken to underground chambers and shown things that would forever change how they viewed Christ and his teachings. During their trial, Templars were accused of worshiping a mysterious bearded head called Baphomet. Most historians dismiss this as a fabrication to justify their persecution. But what if it represented something else? Perhaps a symbolic representation of hidden knowledge they had acquired. The Templars also maintained unusual connections with Islamic scholars, surprising for a Christian military order supposedly fighting against Muslim forces. Arabic knowledge at that time preserved many ancient texts lost to Europe. Could these connections have provided the Templars access to suppressed Christian documents preserved by Islamic scholars? But if they truly held such explosive secrets, why didn't they use this knowledge against the Church? Perhaps they understood something crucial. Revealing such truths would shake the foundations of medieval society, potentially causing chaos and bloodshed across Europe. The common people weren't ready for revelations that would overturn everything they believed. Instead, they may have chosen to become the silent guardians of this knowledge, preserving it through symbols, architecture, and secret initiations, waiting for a time when humanity was ready to receive it. While the Templars were rising to power in Europe, another spiritual movement was growing in southern France, the Cathars. These pure ones practiced a form of Christianity dramatically different from Catholic orthodoxy. They believed the material world was created by an evil deity, while the true God was purely spiritual. They rejected church authority, practiced equality between men and women, and claimed to possess secret knowledge about Christ's true teachings. The parallels between Cathar beliefs and those found in the Gnostic Gospels are striking. The same Gospels that the Templars might have discovered beneath the Temple Mount. Even more telling is the Templars' unusual relationship with the Cathars. Despite being officially sanctioned by the Church, the Templars were notably absent from the brutal Albigensian Crusade launched to exterminate the Cathars. Some historical records suggest that when Cathar strongholds fell, Templar commanderies often provided refuge for survivors. The fortress of Montségur, the last Cathar stronghold, fell in 1244 after a lengthy siege. Legend claims that the night before surrender, 4 Cathar perfects escaped down the mountain's treacherous western face, carrying with them the Cathar treasure. Most historians assume this was gold or jewels. But what if it was something far more valuable? Perhaps the same knowledge the Templars had discovered. And what if these escaping Cathars delivered this knowledge directly into Templar hands for safekeeping? The connections deepen when we learn that the Languedoc region of France, Cathar territory, later became a stronghold of Templar power. Many prominent Templar knights came from families with Cathar sympathies or connections. This suggests a secret alliance. Two groups preserving the same forbidden knowledge, one operating openly as a military order, the other as a spiritual movement. When the Cathars were brutally exterminated, the torch of this secret tradition may have passed solely to the Templars, making them the last remaining guardians of a truth too dangerous to be spoken aloud. The legend of the Holy Grail emerged during the exact same period the Templars were at the height of their power, the late 12th century. Classical interpretations describe the Grail as the cup used by Jesus at the Last Supper, later used to catch his blood during the crucifixion. But what if this was merely a symbol, a metaphor for something far more explosive? Medieval poets like Chrétien de Troyes and Wolfram von Eschenbach wrote about the Grail not as a simple cup, but as something mysterious and transformative. In their tales, the Grail is always guarded by an order of knights, with striking similarities to the Templars. Eschenbach explicitly states that those who are called Templars guard the Grail, one of the earliest literary references connecting the order to this mysterious object. But here's where it gets fascinating. The word Grail comes from the Old French Graal, which itself derives from Latin gradalis, meaning a dish brought to the table in different stages or degrees, similar to how initiation into secret knowledge happens in stages. In some early texts, the Grail isn't described as a cup at all, but as a stone fallen from heaven, reminiscent of the black stone in the Kaaba that the Templars would have known about through their Middle Eastern connections. The most provocative interpretation comes from studying the ancient Aramaic and Hebrew languages Jesus would have spoken. In these languages, the words for blood and royal lineage are closely related. Could the royal blood, or sang real in French, have been corrupted over time to sangreal, Holy Grail? If so, the Holy Grail wouldn't be a physical chalice at all, but a bloodline, the sacred lineage of Christ himself through Mary Magdalene. This explosive theory explains why in Grail legends, the object is always hidden, always protected, and always associated with a terrible secret that would shake Christendom to its core. A revelation that would have shattered the foundations of the Church and rewritten the entire history of Western civilization. The tragic downfall of the Templars began on Friday, October 13, 1307, a date that remains synonymous with bad luck to this day. Under orders from King Philip IV of France, a monarch deeply in debt to the Templars, hundreds of knights were arrested in coordinated dawn raids across France. The charges were shocking: heresy, idol worship, spitting on the cross, and engaging in forbidden sexual practices. Under extreme torture, some Templars confessed to these crimes. But as soon as they were removed from torture, many recanted their confessions, insisting they had admitted to falsehoods only to end their suffering. Jacques de Molay, the last Grand Master of the order, initially confessed under torture, but later dramatically recanted. As he was being burned at the stake in March 1314, he cursed both King Philip and Pope Clement V, prophesying that both would join him before God's throne within a year. Remarkably, both men died within the time frame he predicted. But here's the part of the story that historians find most perplexing. When Philip's forces raided Templar strongholds expecting to find their legendary treasure, they discovered nothing. No gold, no sacred artifacts, and most importantly, no documents that could prove the accusations against them. How did they know the attack was coming? And where did their most valuable possessions disappear to? Even more mysterious, the entire Templar fleet vanished from the port of La Rochelle overnight. Not a single ship was captured. It was as if they had been warned and had executed a carefully prepared escape plan. This suggests the Templars had informants at the highest levels of both church and state. They knew they were targeted and had time to hide their most precious possessions, especially any documents that might reveal what they had truly discovered beneath the Temple Mount. The classic image of Templar treasure conjures visions of gold-filled vaults and priceless relics. But what if their true treasure wasn't material at all? What if it was knowledge itself? Something so powerful it could have forever altered the course of Christian history. If the Templars discovered documents revealing a secret lineage of Jesus, possibly connected to Mary Magdalene, this would align perfectly with traditions found in the apocryphal Gospels. This wouldn't be just any secret, it would be knowledge capable of toppling the entire power structure of medieval Europe. The Church's authority rested on its claim to be the sole intermediary between humanity and Christ. If evidence existed that Christ had living descendants, a bloodline that continued through the centuries, it would undermine the very foundation of ecclesiastical power. Some researchers believe the Templars weren't destroyed because of their wealth, though King Philip certainly coveted it. They were eliminated because they possessed knowledge so dangerous that powerful interests would stop at nothing to ensure it remained hidden. Consider this. Despite brutal torture, none of the arrested Templars ever revealed where their treasure went. Even facing death by fire, they maintained this secret. What kind of treasure would be worth such sacrifice? Only something of truly extraordinary value. Something like proof that everything ordinary Christians had been taught about Jesus was deliberately incomplete. A carefully constructed narrative designed to maintain power and control rather than reveal spiritual truth. Despite Philip's swift and coordinated attack, many Templars managed to vanish before they could be captured. Even more mysterious, their fleet of ships disappeared from the port of La Rochelle overnight. Where did these knights flee, and what did they take with them? Scotland provides one compelling answer. At the time, Scotland was fighting for independence from England and was under papal interdict, meaning the Pope's orders, including those to arrest Templars, had no force there. Robert the Bruce, excommunicated by the Church, had every reason to welcome skilled warriors who also opposed papal authority. Historical records suggest Templar knights fought at the pivotal Battle of Bannockburn in 1314, helping secure Scottish independence. The intriguing St. Clair family, builders of the enigmatic Rosslyn Chapel, are believed to have sheltered many Templars. Rosslyn itself contains stone carvings showing plants from the Americas decades before Columbus's voyage, suggesting the fleeing Templars may have reached North America using their advanced navigational knowledge. Portugal offers another sanctuary story. King Dinas of Portugal simply renamed the order as the Knights of Christ, allowing them to continue operating openly with the same properties, the same members, and even the same distinctive cross on their sails. These were the very ships that later carried explorers like Vasco da Gama and Christopher Columbus to new lands. But the most intriguing possibility connects to a shadowy organization called the Priory of Sion, allegedly dedicated to protecting the lineage of Jesus and Mary Magdalene across the centuries. While mainstream historians debate the priory's existence, documents discovered in France's Bibliothèque Nationale in the 1960s list numerous illustrious Grand Masters, including Leonardo da Vinci, Isaac Newton, Victor Hugo, and Jean Cocteau. If such an organization existed, it would provide the perfect vehicle for preserving the explosive knowledge the Templars had discovered, maintaining it through centuries of secrecy, waiting for the right moment to reveal it to the world. If the Templars preserved their forbidden knowledge, where might they have hidden it? The answer may be hiding in plain sight, encoded in architecture, artwork, and symbols scattered across Europe. Look at Europe's magnificent Gothic cathedrals, many funded by Templar wealth. These architectural marvels contain enigmatic symbols, numerical codes, and biblical scenes portrayed from unconventional perspectives. Chartres Cathedral features a labyrinth that, when properly decoded, forms a pattern matching the layout of the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Notre Dame's facade contains mathematical proportions that some researchers claim encode the sacred geometry found in both nature and esoteric traditions. But perhaps most compelling is Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland, built by the St. Clair family decades after the Templar suppression. This small chapel contains over 100 carvings of green men, pagan symbols of rebirth. Its intricate stone carvings depict plants native to America decades before Columbus sailed. And musical notes encoded in the ceiling's cubes may form a melody only recently deciphered. Leonardo da Vinci, alleged Grand Master of the Priory of Sion, created works filled with coded references. His Last Supper portrays the figure to Jesus' right with distinctively feminine features, believed by some to represent Mary Magdalene. The positioning of the disciples forms mathematical patterns that some interpret as references to sacred bloodlines. The Templars were masters of encryption, using advanced codes to conceal information. Their architectural knowledge wasn't just practical. It incorporated sacred geometry that encoded spiritual concepts in physical form. Some believe these secrets were later absorbed by Freemasonry, which emerged in Scotland around the same time the Templars disappeared. Early Masonic rituals contain striking parallels to Templar initiation ceremonies, and Masonic symbols like the square and compass echo Templar imagery. The transmission might have followed this path. From the Temple Mount excavations to the Templars, then to the Scottish refugees, who encoded it into architecture and eventually passed it to early Freemasons, who spread it worldwide through their lodges. In this way, the explosive knowledge could be hidden in plain sight, visible to those with eyes to see, yet meaningless to the uninitiated. The Templars may have been officially destroyed 7 centuries ago, but their influence casts a long shadow over our modern world. From the founding of global banking systems to the geometric layout of Washington, D.C., from Renaissance art to modern secret societies, the fingerprints of Templar knowledge appear everywhere. Consider the founding of the United States, a nation whose earliest leaders included numerous Freemasons. The street layout of Washington, D.C., designed by Freemason Pierre L'Enfant, contains pentagram patterns and alignments with celestial events that echo sacred geometry principles preserved in Templar architecture. The dollar bill, perhaps the most widely circulated document in history, features esoteric symbols including the all-seeing eye, the unfinished pyramid, and numerical patterns that some connect to Templar traditions. Even the eagle with 13 arrows and 13 olive branches may contain coded references to sacred bloodlines. Banking systems worldwide operate on principles the Templars pioneered, including credit notes, check systems, and lending networks. The modern concept of corporations with rights separate from their members began with the Templars' unique legal status. Switzerland's reputation for banking secrecy and neutrality has roots in its connection to Templar refugees. The Swiss flag, a white cross on red background, inverts the Templars' red cross on white. But the most provocative question remains: who guards these secrets today? Some point to Freemasonry, with its system of degrees and selective revelation of secrets. Others suggest the Rosicrucians, who emerged in the 17th century with manifestos claiming access to ancient wisdom. The Knights of Malta, the only remaining Crusader order officially recognized by the Vatican, maintain traditions with striking similarities to Templar practices. More controversial theories point to hidden groups within intelligence agencies, international banking families, or even sections within the Vatican itself as modern custodians of the Templar legacy. What unites these theories is the belief that powerful knowledge continues to be guarded by those who understand its potential impact, knowledge waiting for humanity to be ready to receive it. One of the most intriguing modern connections to the Templar mystery centers on a tiny island off the coast of Nova Scotia, Canada, Oak Island. For over 200 years, treasure hunters have been drawn to this remote location by legends of buried treasure and a complex underground shaft system that appears to have been engineered with remarkable sophistication for its time. The Money Pit, as it's known, was discovered in 1795 when teenage Daniel McGuinness noticed a depression in the ground beneath an oak tree with a ship's tackle block hanging from one branch, a potential marker. What makes this relevant to our Templar story are the numerous connections linking the island to the Knights. A stone discovered on the island bore inscriptions similar to Templar cipher codes. Carbon dating of wooden structures found deep underground dates them to the 1300s, exactly when Templar refugees were fleeing Europe. The engineering required to create the elaborate flood trap system would have been beyond the capabilities of most, but well within the Templars' advanced knowledge. Most compelling is a swamp-submerged stone carving depicting a sword and cross in the distinctive Templar style, along with carvings that some experts have identified as Portuguese Templar symbols. If Templars really did reach North America 2 centuries before Columbus, a possibility supported by their advanced navigational knowledge and nautical capabilities, Oak Island might represent their ultimate secure location, far from European authorities, where their most precious secrets and perhaps their legendary treasure could remain hidden until the appointed time for revelation. Current excavations continue to uncover tantalizing clues, including fragments of parchment and traces of gold deep within the Money Pit. Could this remote island hold the ultimate Templar secret, the documentary evidence of what they discovered beneath the Temple Mount? No exploration of Templar secrets would be complete without examining their complex relationship with the Vatican, both historical and modern. While Pope Clement V officially disbanded the Templars in 1312, an extraordinary document discovered in 2001 in the Vatican secret archives revealed a shocking twist. The sheen on parchment, dated August 1308, shows that Clement had actually absolved the Templars of all heresy charges in a secret ceremony. Why would the Pope privately absolve the very men he would later publicly condemn? This contradiction suggests powerful forces at work beyond the official narrative. The Vatican Secret Archives, renamed in 2019 as the Vatican Apostolic Archives, contain approximately 53 miles of shelving with documents spanning 12 centuries. Only select scholars are granted limited access, and many sections remain completely closed to outside researchers. What might these archives contain regarding the Templars and their discoveries? Some researchers believe the Vatican holds extensive Templar records, including inventories of what was excavated beneath the Temple Mount. Reports from historians granted limited access described sealed sections dating to the early 14th century, precisely when the Templar suppression occurred. These sections are off-limits to everyone except a select few with direct papal authorization. In 2017, a previously unknown letter from Pope Boniface VIII was discovered in the archives, making reference to sacred objects recovered from Solomon's temple being held in safekeeping. While not explicitly mentioning the Templars, the timing aligns perfectly with their activities. Perhaps most intriguing is the Vatican's seemingly inconsistent approach to Templar history. While officially dismissing theories about Templar discoveries as speculation, the Vatican has been quietly purchasing properties with Templar connections across Europe, including former commanderies and lands mentioned in Templar documents. Could the modern Church be both the suppressor of Templar knowledge and, paradoxically, one of its guardians, preserving dangerous secrets not to reveal them but to ensure they remain hidden? Recent archaeological discoveries have only deepened the Templar mystery. Underground chambers with Templar crosses have been found throughout Europe. Ground-penetrating radar has revealed previously unknown chambers beneath their former headquarters in London. The Vatican's secret archives continue to yield new documents about their trial and supposed absolution from heresy charges. In 2019, an underground chamber was discovered beneath a farm in Hertfordshire, England, bearing wall carvings of Templar symbols alongside Egyptian and early Christian imagery. A strange combination spanning millennia of esoteric traditions. With each new finding, we edge closer to understanding what these warrior monks truly discovered beneath the Temple Mount. But perhaps the most important question isn't what the Templars found, but whether the world is ready for such revelations. If they truly discovered an alternative gospel or evidence of Christ's bloodline continuing through history, would revealing such information heal ancient wounds or create new divisions? The truth may be hidden in plain sight, in symbols we pass every day without recognizing, in stories dismissed as legends, or in secret societies that still operate beyond public awareness. The Templars may have been silenced, but their secrets continue to echo through the centuries, waiting for those with eyes to see and ears to hear. What do you think they discovered? And is the world finally ready to hear it? Leave your thoughts below. Bible Wisdom Chronicles, where hidden truths come to light.